Hello, everybody. This is going to be a very short video. I just want to do a quick nervous and endocrine comparison so that you can see it real quick and then get you on your objectives and get you on your way so that tomorrow we can begin reproduction, having covered everything. So, let's have a fact of the day so that we can get started. This one's very interesting, considering that we've just been talking about nervous and endocrine systems and all these receptors. And it turns out that caffeine does not give you energy. It actually blocks the action of adenosine on its receptors and consequently prevents the onset of drowsiness, thus not giving you energy, but just keeping you from feeling tired. So that's where that comes from, is that you should be getting drowsy, but your body is still moving along and thus keeping you moving. So let's get going. Real quick, I just want to go over this very quickly to remind you of how this works, and then we'll do our quick comparison, and you'll be on your way to do the next batch of objectives. So, first thing, when your blood sugar increases, usually when you consume carbohydrates, monosaccharides, polysaccharides, right? They all end up as monosaccharides. They get digested, mouth, stomach, even in the small intestines, and then they end up in the bloodstream. The bloodstream is flooded with this glucose. So the glucose is very high, and this isn't at a homeostatic level. It can lead to nerve damage and eyesight problems and all kinds of things. We don't want to have too much sugar in our blood. Changes our blood pH as well. Anyways, we want to store some of that for later too. So what we do is our body releases insulin. Blood sugar goes up. Pancreas, specifically the beta cells of the pancreas, release insulin, telling the liver to store that glucose as glycogen. That is a polysaccharide that holds our glucose. This will bring us back down to homeostasis, and we're good for a long period of time. Till our blood sugar goes down, the alpha cells of the pancreas release the hormone glucagon. Glucagon goes to the liver and says, hey, that glucose that you stored earlier as glycogen, will you please digest that back into glucose and give it to our bloodstream so we can have some energy for making it through the rest of the day so that we don't have to go for the caffeine, right? And that's how we do it. Blood sugar's high, we release insulin. Blood sugar's low, we release glucagon. Okay, and so that was the one part. Okay, so after comparing that, and before we move on to the reproductive system, we will do a quick comparison. I will put this closer, but what I am making here is a Venn diagram of the nervous system and the endocrine systems because they have similarities and differences. So if you would like to make this right now, you can do that. Was that dramatic enough? Hang on. But don't we all just want to be happy? That should just be called intensity. I don't know. Anyways, still playing with my pocket sitcom here. So, what I usually do is this is, of course, normally a class discussion, but I'll walk you through this very quickly. I like to start with the similarities because that's what I've been kind of focusing on in this lecture, and why I've grouped them together is because they are similar in that they are right. They're the bosses of the body, right? They direct cell function. So in the middle of our Venn diagram, we put direct cellular activity. I refer to them as the bosses of the body. The second thing is that they both do it in a similar way. They both do it basically by sending messages. You're right. You guys are so smart, right? They are doing this by sending messages. Okay? Now, of course, their design and their functions are different, right? But they both direct cellular activity and they both send messages. So let's talk about those messages. What are those messages called in the nervous system? They're called, right, impulses. And the messages in the endocrine system, they're called, right, hormones. Oh man, you guys are just on a roll. Now, where do impulses travel in the body? How do they get from one place to the other? What's that, you say? Excuse me? In the back? Oh, right. Impulses travel through those specialized cells called neurons. Right? And where do hormones travel? Do they travel through neurons? No, they travel through where? Yes, the bloodstream. Now, let's talk about the speed of the response here. Now, one of the things that I used in my trivia when I had to do Zoom trivia was how long was the female menstrual cycle, and it was 28 days and regulated by 4 hormones, and like 2 people got it right. So that was hard. Anyways, and they were both women, obviously. But when we talk about the hormones directing cell functions versus your nervous system and its reflexes and its talking and its thinking and problem solving, right? Which one would be the fast responder and which one is the slow responder? I think we figured that out before I got to the end of my sentence, right? Your nervous system is the one that deals with all the fast decision makings, and the endocrine is the one that deals with the slower changes, right? You don't want to go through puberty, boom, overnight, right? Just like you don't want to wait for a hormone to be released from your pituitary gland to make it all the way down to your leg muscles telling you to go and start running, right? That would not be right. That's why we have 2 different types of bosses, because one basically deals with long-term changes and one deals with short-term changes. Which one is which, would you guess? Right, the nervous system deals with a lot of the short-term changes, and the endocrine system deals with the long-term changes. So this diagram right here is normally used as a warm-up. It's used as a quiz question. I think I might have tried to get somebody to put this in the objectives one year and it got real ugly. But anyways, this is a very important way that I would like you to look at the nervous and endocrine system, because they are both bosses of the body that control cell function. They're both sending messages from one place to the other. Of course, when you have to have things happening and you're running a large operation, some decisions need to be made very quickly, and some of them take time to develop. And so, right, this is dealing with your thinking, problem solving, day to day actions. And this is the one that is dealing with a lot of the major changes and the basic maintenance and other just nuts and bolts structure, infrastructure of your body. So I like you guys to look at this way. So hopefully you will draw this picture as well. I think it's part of your objective. So have it in some form in your notes because it's a good way to look at this. And so that's all I've got for you. So I hope that you have a good one. And remember, your homework assignment is to do the batch of objectives 50 or 67 to 71, I believe they are. 67 to 71, which cover all of the endocrine system. And then we're on to my favorite, reproduction. Okay, and Draco out.